I'm Buzz Stoddard with Cruising Yachts Inc. here in Marina del Rey, and I'd like to introduce you to our latest listing, and we're kind of excited about this boat. It is a 1998 Jeanneau 45.2, and we are, as many of you know, the Jeanneau dealers here in Marina del Rey, as well as the rest of California. And this particular model, the 45.2, is really kind of a fabled Jeanneau boat. As much for its sailing qualities as anything else. They tried to emulate some of the design qualities. I have a good friend, a highly experienced skipper, professional, who sailed one for years, owned one for years, and I asked him, I said, everybody back at the factory talks about the 45.2 as being a very special Jeanneau. I said, what sailing characteristics do you attribute it to that makes it so ideal for fast offshore passages? And he said, in part, it's the way it tracks. In almost any weather condition, very easy to steer, takes a lot less power on the auto helm. It's very easy to balance, and between the jib and the main, very little helm, and a very comfortable ride in following seas, out in the open ocean. A lot of times your stern's getting pushed around. On this boat, it just doesn't seem to happen very much that way. Just a lot of stability, and of course it's a big boat, a lot of comfort and space, but very good choice for someone who would like to cruise, whether locally or around the world. This particular boat has been chartered and lived aboard. It's currently being lived aboard by the owners, and so it has some of that nature to it, but the boat itself appears to be in great shape, sound, well equipped, and pretty much ready to go. So why don't you come aboard and we'll have a look around the deck. Up forward here, all good cruising boats start with good ground tackle, and there's always been the traditional argument between a Bruce type, claw type anchor for rock and coral, and a CQR, which is a plow type, good for particularly our kelp and mud bottoms here for sure. In this case, they have one of each, so everything is covered. A nice big stainless swivel on the CQR as well. The very large chain locker is followed by a very large sail locker, which allows for storage. We took this boat out a week ago, and it's got a beautiful brand new red asymmetric spinnaker, and we set that, and we probably had maybe 6 to 9 knots, and the boat was just flying. We had boatpics.com bring their helicopter out to take photographs, which apparently we won't have for a good number of weeks. I guess they're backed up, but we'll be able to add those to the ad. But the boat just flew, it tracked beautifully, and it was easy to handle, even with that big chute up there. Very little yaw to the boat, and that's a very nice characteristic for cruising boats in particular. Now as we head a little bit aft, you can see the spinnaker or whisker pole here, which is ideal for cruising. Most the offshore trade wind cruising we do, it's not so much wing and wing. You're usually on some type of a reach, from a close to a broad reach. But if you can set the clew of your large jib on a pole, and then stabilize that with a foreguy as well as the sheet and maybe even a topping lift, then you're going to be good to go for maybe even days out in the open ocean. So it's really nice to have a rig set up like that, so you're ready to go for the long crossings if that's what you choose to do. The deck-mounted canister style life raft is another great feature for the cruisers out there. They're expensive. They're probably $4,000 to $6,000 a raft like that. I don't know when it was last repacked. I can check that, but they do need repacking about every 2 years with all the Coast Guard approved safety and water cans and so forth. But it's a nice thing to have. And just after that, you can see the Traveler, which is Harken. Most of the hardware on Jeanneau's is Harken, winches and so forth here. And you can see the lead blocks for the jib sheets. Very substantial blocks, and the kind of hardware that you want to have if you're going any distance offshore. Also, you might notice on the sail a system that I like, where the sail falls onto the boom and it's held there with those lines. It's called a Dutchman, and it's very popular, very convenient for limited cruise. Nice canvas work as well. Hi, welcome to the cockpit of the 45.2. We have a wonderful swim step with a concealed ladder there, teak sole with a large locker, large lazarettes, and then over at the helm we have our remote VHF mic, our engine controls, and the ST8000 autopilot and the tri-data, and then in the center we have our wind and multi-graphic and our chalk plotter and radar. This equipment, these same instruments, took me very comfortably and safely across the Pacific, and there may be not touch screens or the very latest technology, but they're very solid gear and perfectly worthy of world cruising today. We have an especially large table with 8 cup holders, drink holders, which can be pretty usable. You can put a lot of people on this boat. And then as we go forward, you can see the large Harken self-tailing primary winches, and then there's 2 cabin top winches as well. So you can control everything pretty much from the cockpit here, as it should be. Cockpit speakers, we have nice stereo, all of the trimmings for sailing. Let's start here with our Navigational Center on this boat. We have a number of upgrades important to serious cruisers. We have a satellite phone, we've got our generator controls, our electrical meters and panels. Up above, the VHF, down below, the single sideband radio. Moving to the left, the ProSign inverter control, stereo, 12-volt charger plug, the propane control, and just a nice control center that provides communication and electricity for just about everything you might need on the boat. A nice TV as well, conveniently located, and a large dinette with a beautiful big table. The galley is a midship galley. The reefers are huge, reefer and freezer, large stove with oven, covered when not in use, and lots of lockers. We also have the hull side battens, which is a nice detailed treatment that they did on these boats. And if you just look at the quality of the woodwork on the bulkheads here, it's really an outstanding boat. Lots of headroom, lots of structural support. They're a very well engineered boat. Now in this version, it's a 3-cabin version, 2 aft cabins. Each has a head with shower, private for each cabin, which is a nice feature. They didn't all have that. And then moving forward to the owner's cabin, we have a very large berth. Again, the hull side battens, nice detailing. The overhead is nicely done with a little trim. Very large lockers, hanging space, and it's a full-on, pretty much king-size berth. It's huge. A lot of storage on this boat too. Great load carrying ability. It just wants to go. The head features an electric quiet flush head, which is probably freshwater plumbed. If not, it's easy to do. And the Corian counters, a separate stall shower with a shower curtain. It's generous dimensions. It's a really nice head. We saved the best for last, and that is that this beautiful, fully found offshore yacht is available for $149,900. So extremely affordable for a boat of this quality, fit out the way she is. And highly recommend that you give me a call, come on down, and have a look.